Okay, welcome everyone. So we're going to start today with Praying with Fire number 2. That's our morning book usually. Today we're in the evening of a different crowd. Okay, so he says like this. An elderly Mr. Landau was diagnosed with a serious disease. Subsisting on a pension, he had no choice but to use the doctor at the local clinic, who accepted his insurance. His children insisted that he travel to the city to see a top specialist. They were prepared to pay, to drive him, and to do everything necessary to get him the best help available. Listen, if HaShem wants me to be cured, the clinic here can cure me just as well, he responded. I don't want to be dragged all over the place. So they give us an example of a person who's sick, doesn't have money, but his kids want to take him to the best clinic, and so on and so forth. He says, listen, everything is in Hashem's hands. If Hashem wants me to be healed, I'll be healed over here in the clinic next to my house. I don't have to go to any specialist. Yeah, so he's asking, how much ishtadlut should one make in seeking medical assistance? Is there any real benefit in trying to find the best doctor? Ishtadlut is our effort. How much effort do we have to put in to find, a good doctor, a good specialist, yeah? So he says, in Shomer Emunim, this issue addressed in a letter sent to a seriously ill student. He says, if your intention is to seek help from a doctor, make sure you search for the best one available. This is because the best doctor has heavenly assistance, which is the cause of his success. So a letter sent to the student who was ill, he's saying, actually, if you're looking for a doctor, make sure you get a very good doctor. Why? Because the success of the doctor is sent by Hashem. The Stipler states that if one has a potentially life-threatening disease, he must try to find the best doctor relevant in the field. Yeah, so far we see that most rabbis are in the opinion that you have to find a good doctor. The Tzitz Eliezer adds, our greatest Gidolim routinely send people not only to doctors, but to the most renowned specialist. If a person does not seek out the best doctor he can obtain, says the Chidah, he commits a sin of arrogance by holding himself to be more righteous than the Gidolim of previous generations, who sought out the best doctors, and by acting as though he will be worthy of a miracle. So basically, in short, it's telling us that what? We do have to seek a very good doctor. And if we don't do that, we are acting more pious than the rabbis before, who actually used to seek out very, very good doctors. Ideally, seeking medical attention and building bitachon are concepts that work hand in hand, rather than in opposition to each other. Now, this book is about prayers, and this several chapters is talking about bitachon. Meaning, how much emunah and bitachon do I have in Hashem? Right? That's why he's talking about this. Should I get a good doctor, or should I just rely on Hashem? He says, no. You rely on Hashem, but you have to also have a good doctor. He says, this is the Bet HaLevi's perspective on all hishtadlut. Once a person does his part, he attains a level of inner peace that enables him to recognize and acknowledge the help Hashem gives him. This in turn brings him to a higher level of bitachon. So the Bet HaLevi says, once a person gets a good doctor, what does he feel? He feels like, so he's Be'ezrat Hashem, he's going to cure me, right? Because he's a specialist in this thing. And therefore he feels a little bit relaxed. And this relaxation is his bitachon. You understand? Meaning not that he's relying on a doctor, but since he made his effort to get a good doctor, he's relaxed that everything is going to be fine. In practical terms, that would mean that if, for example, a person had tonsillitis, he should go to the doctor and take antibiotics along with praying for healing. Once he begins taking his medication, he will have the peace of mind to recognize Hashem's healing power. Since nowadays no one has perfect bitachon, his decision to refrain from medical help would undoubtedly leave him feeling panicky and alone, and further distance himself from the source of healing. You hear? So before this chapter, it was actually talking about that there's two ways of looking at this, whether I should be healed, should I go to the doctor or not. He was saying that the Rambam says you must. Rambam says you must go to the doctor. The Ramban said depends on what level you're on. If you're on a lofty level, like let's say Baba Sali and the big rabbis, you don't need no doctor. He said you have so much bitachon and emunah in you that Hashem, please heal me. Boom. He says, however, none of us are on this level right now, and therefore we must seek a doctor. You hear? But he says, however, if you are on that level, you will be healed. Even for the most potent miracle drug, however, the primary active ingredient is bitachon. He says if a person takes medicine, the best medicine that there is, he shouldn't think that the medicine is the one that's healing him. It's HaShem that's healing him through this medicine. In fact, studies have borne out the clear link between a person's positive state of mind and his ability to recover and maintain good health. Meaning, having confidence that a doctor is the right messenger from above provides the wherewithal to have bitachon in HaShem. So he says, and this we know several times, that when a person feels good about himself, meaning he feels that, you know what, I'm going to be healed, everything's going to be fine, he actually is going to be healed. You hear? In the final analysis, neither bitachon nor an illusory faith in world-class medicine can guarantee a person's desired outcome. As mentioned earlier, bitachon is trust in Hashem's goodness and judgment, that all he does is good, whatever the final result. Now this is a very strong statement. As we know, many of our friends, relatives, they got sick, and we would pray, and what would happen? They wouldn't make it. Guess what he says? He says bitachon is actually believing that whatever result comes out, that's the result that Hashem wants us to have. Yeah? So we should always expect the best, but we should know that whatever the result is, that's what Hashem chose. Yeah? He says, over here, Rav Pam once went to comfort a mourner whose loved one died as a result of elective surgery. Elective surgery means you didn't even have to do it. It's, we should take it out, but if you don't want to take it out, you can leave it. Yeah, it's one of those things. Rav Pam consoled him with an explanation of the Gemara that expounds on King Shlomo's words. He says like this: a person's feet are his guarantors. To where he is summoned, there they will lead him. Rav Pam recounted that when his mother passed away, his wife, the Rebbitzin, had gone to Lakewood for the birth of their grandchild. In all the years they were married, the Rebbitzin never went to Lakewood alone and didn't come back. Meaning whenever she would go, she would come back the same day. Unless she would go with her husband, then they could stay for a couple of days. But if she went alone, she would always come back. He says, on that night, Rav Pam's mother, who was in Brooklyn, was rushed to the hospital, where she died. Some people suggested that the emergency room delays had contributed to her death, and had the Rebbitzin been there, she would have been able to prevent the delay. Meaning, his wife ended up staying this time in Lakewood. She never stayed. Never. She always used to come back, but this time she stayed. And what happened is, the rabbi's mother got sick, very sick, and they had to rush her into the emergency room. In the emergency room, there were small delays, which they said that if his wife was here, she would never have happened. She would never allow these delays to happen. You hear? So what does he say? He says, Rav Pam understood the real reason why his Rebbitzin did not return from Lakewood that one ill-fated evening. In regards to his mother fate, he knew a person's feet are his guarantors. To where he is summoned, there they lead him. Which means she didn't go over there and therefore the mother died because she didn't come back. No. Hashem made her stay there because he knew that it was the time for the mother to go. And therefore, nothing is a coincidence. People can say, she always used to come back, she didn't come back. Yeah, the whole point Hashem left her there, right, is to make the mother sick, get her into the emergency room, things would be delayed, and she had to go. So in summation to this chapter, he says, most Gedolim have sought expert medical advice and advise that others should do the same. So basically, whenever we need to look for people that are experts, we have to look for experts. Number 2, doctors successfully track record in evidence of heavenly assistance granted his effort, meaning through a doctor's successful track record, a person is relaxed. Yeah, when you have a doctor who's 30 years in the business doing some kind of a surgery on you, you're more relaxed than a person who's just beginning. Yeah, seeking medical treatment can provide a person for the serenity upon which he can build bitachon in Hashem's power of healing, and ultimately the outcome of one's illness, whether or not it is what a person desires, is in Hashem's hands. This belief is the core of bitachon. So we can say, right, that our dear friend over there went to Florida, banged up his head, now he cannot work for a month, correct? So People can say, what? Oh, why'd you go to Florida? You shouldn't have gone. We told you not to go. Yeah? Ainara, this and that. Whatever they want to say, you know what that is? That's slight kofrut. Why? Hashem took you over there, knowing that door, I don't know what the situation is, but that door was not a good door. And he needed you to be out of employment for the next month. That was beside. So he took you there to the vacation for you to have that. You understand? To get it. So if it wasn't there, guess what? He would have doctored something over here. So he says the bitachon and the understanding that we have to have in Hashem is everything happens for a reason. Everything is calculated. And you were at least, 12 people, 14 people there, right? 15 people there. He chose you because you were the one who was in the...
The best candidate.
You were the candidate.
He was the candidate for the phone.
Meaning all the people... Yeah.
I was the candidate for the car.
All the people who went, and all the people who got whatever they had to get, was calculated on a minute-to-minute basis, and you would not have gone around it. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen, amen.